Welcome back to Talking Sports with Brandon. This is the Dallas Cowboys Wild Card win episode. Not a loss, a win. So obviously you can tell, and you probably should know by now, but the Cowboys did win in the Wild Card, Super Wild Card game against the Tampa Bay Bucs, 31-14 Monday night, which I'll talk about later in this episode about it being on Monday night. But yeah, I mean, a playoff win, a big playoff win against Tom Brady. We'll see what even happens with Brady. He may retire, who knows? But just a great win. You know, it feels good to be able to win a playoff game. I mean, it's been 4 years since a playoff win for the Cowboys, and that was against Seattle, and what was a great game. That was an amazing game that year at home against Seattle. But it feels good to be able to get a win and just to play a good game. This wasn't a sluggish game. Didn't come down to the end where we barely won. We played a really good game in this one. And again, it feels good coming off of that Week 18 game against Washington, where despite it in the end not meaning anything, in the moment it still meant something. And for how bad we played, like we could have lost that game, and I wouldn't have really cared, but we played so bad that it was just a little concerning just how bad we played. But clearly we just turned the page, didn't let it affect us. The first two drives of this game weren't amazing, but after that it really clicked. And yeah, what can I say? I mean, we're moving to the Divisional Round to play the Niners, which I'll talk about at the end of this episode. But again, just a great win. And all the credit goes to Dak. He played a great game. All the expectations, coming into this game, the storyline to this game was, Dak has to play amazing. All the pressure's on him. All the expectations on him. He has to play perfect. People were, they were honestly picking the Bucs to win this game. And I think they just overlooked what was happening during the regular season, where we went 12-5. We were scoring 30-plus points in almost every single game that Dak was playing in, and our defense was great all season. I think people just looked at the last week, looked at how we kind of struggled a little bit towards the end, despite, still playing really well. We just blew a couple leads, but, we're still putting up 30-plus points, still putting up a lot of points, but we just were, I guess, struggling a little bit. That's what people want to say. But I think they just looked at that, they're like, oh, Tom Brady. And I was even saying it. I was saying if it was a close game going to the fourth quarter or late in the fourth quarter, we're probably losing. And I think I would have been right. I mean, the Bucs, we've seen it multiple times this year where if it's a close game in the fourth quarter, despite no matter how bad they've been playing throughout the game, they can turn it on just like that and can at least win the game. And with Brady, he can win a game like that. So I said, as long as it's not a close game in the fourth quarter, we're going to win this game. And it wasn't a close game in the fourth quarter, and what do you know? We won this game. So I didn't have any doubt that if we just played our game, no matter what the Bucs did, if we just played our game, we're winning this game. And that's what we did. We played our game, and we just absolutely destroyed them. Now, it ended up being 31-14, but which is still a big win, obviously 17 points, but this game easily could have been 24. It could have easily been a 24-point game or more, to be honest. But again, Dak was great. I mean, he was 25 of 33, 305 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks, no fumbles, nothing like that. Never really even threw into traffic. Every single throw was on the money. Hit his guys in stride, hit him for touchdowns, just played really cool, calm, and collective throughout this game. They talked about it on the broadcast, but they were saying how Washington, almost felt like he was too fast, too quick for the play, and he was just doing what he had something in mind, and he was just doing it, and that's what was forcing the bad throws, the interceptions, the mistakes. This game, it started off like that, but then he just kind of eased into a mode, started playing his own brand of football, and just really got into a groove. And again, it led to a big first half where, we went into halftime up 18-0. And again, we'll talk about the weird numbers in this game, but I guess it ended up being 31. But, there were weird numbers in this game. But let's start with the drives. The first drive was anything but impressive. It was, just really bad, to be honest. It was incompletion to Lamb, and then incompletion to T.Y. Hilton. I mean, two of them, one of them, the T.Y. one, you can call a drop. It was tough. There was a guy there, but he definitely should have caught that. and it would have been a first down, or at least very close. I think it would have been a first down, but the first two throws, it was trying to get Dak going, not even a run play. We tried to do a screen to Lamb where Dak just, he honestly just missed him. Like, he just, Lamb's there, and Dak kind of goes sidearm a little bit and just, like, throws it like a yard in front of him. Just, like, kind of catches him off guard to where you're thinking it's going to be, if anything, behind you a little bit, not in front of you like that, so it's pushing you into the defense. And it was just an incompletion, and then obviously the TY was a slant on third down, just kind of miss, drop, whatever you want to say. But just an ugly drive. 25 seconds off the clock. The Bucs deferred, so I'm thinking, all right, obviously, they're going to get the ball coming out of halftime. Let's go down, take the advantage, obviously, by them giving us the ball. Get points. Even if it's 3, just get points, and at least have points on the board to start the game. Didn't happen. But the Bucs started off just as bad offensively. They went a -2 yard rush, which Micah stopped, and we'll talk about him throughout this game. He was phenomenal in this game, and then they went incompletion, and then they went incompletion with even a holding against them as well. So it wouldn't have even mattered, but they went 3 and out, took a minute off the clock. Then we get the ball back and do even worse in our first drive. We go Zeke for -2 yards, Pollard for 5 yards, and then Dak gets sacked. The only sack that happened in the game, against him, but he did get sacked, and then obviously we punted, and that took 2 minutes off the clock. So there's 11 minutes 20 seconds left, and we've already had 2 possessions. Now Tampa's on their second possession, and they go 3 and out. They go 2 yards, 3 yards, and then incompletion on third down. So this is where the game starts now. Those first 2 drives for both teams were awful, disgusting, really bad to watch. And at this point in the game, I thought that it would be the same old, where for some reason we're just awful. We can't do anything offensively. It's going to be a close game where it's going to be low scoring, and in the end, we're probably going to lose. That's what I was thinking. It's just going to be one of those games. But this is the drive where it all kicked off, and we finally did something, and it just led to the rest of the game. And this is where Dak settled in. He settled in, and he started playing good football. We go 5 yards for Pollard, 15 yards to Gallup. Again, a high throw. It was a high throw by Dak, but it was a good catch by Gallup on the sideline. 2 yards for Pollard. Noah Brown for 3 yards, plus a roughing the passer call, which was huge to get it from our 42-yard line to their 40-yard line. And then 18 yards for Pollard. No gain on first down, and then a 22-yard touchdown pass from Dak to Schultz. Again, a little behind, a little up in the air, but it was still there. He was wide open. It was an easy catch. It really wasn't that bad. I was a little bit behind, but it was a good throw, and obviously led to a touchdown. So 6-0. I'm not going to say 7-0 because we missed the extra point. And this is just a trend that's going to continue throughout this game. But Maher missed this extra point, and it wasn't even close. He actually shanked it all the way to the right. And even what was happening when he set up on this field goal, or on this extra point, he set up all the way. If you're facing the end zone that he was kicking at, he was set up all the way on the left side. On TV, it's all the way on the right side. So he's clearly, he's trying to have that angle to where he's just going to kick. He's not trying to draw it. He's just kind of trying to hit it straight, but it's more so like kicking it on the right, kind of just like shooting it out to the right side. So he wanted to give him as much space as possible to just kind of kick it straight, but still have it angled right. And he absolutely just missed. Didn't even come close. Did not even come close to the, to making it. It was kind of incredible. But all right, fine. It wasn't. I was already thinking once he missed that, I was like, well, we're probably going to lose then by a game-winning field goal. It's going to be, it's going to come down to the final play, and then, because we missed that, instead of like the Jaguars Chargers game, if you watch that, where it's not like they missed an extra point, but it was 31-30 that they won when they could have been. Now the Jaguars went for 2, and that's why, but. I'm thinking in this game, it's going to be like, it's going to be whatever the score is going to be, but 19-17, and then it's going to end up being 2019 Bucs win, something like that. So I was already thinking that in my head. And honestly, the Bucs on their next drive, this game could have been way different. The Bucs' next drive was 14 plays, 70 yards, and they got all the way down to our 5-yard line. They were just going down the field, kind of getting good plays, short plays. There was a third down here, 3rd and 7. where we only rushed 3 guys and they went underneath, picked up the first down. There was a couple times we did that during the game. I don't really like that. The one thing that was working for us in this game, we only had a couple sacks. I think 2, maybe 3, but I think 2 was the number that we did have. I guess I could check it. But, the one thing that was working, we had 2 sacks, but the pressures and the QB hits were very high. But the one thing that was working was the pressure on him, on Brady, without blitzing. I think we only blitzed 6 times in this game. And for some reason, again, this was still early in the game where obviously it's a huge play. It's a huge drive. We only rushed 3 against a 5-man front. It didn't really make sense at all. We're playing coverage. They go underneath, and they pick up the first down. It makes Diggs miss, gets the first down. I didn't understand it. Again, it happened a couple times. The way to stop them, the way to just force incompletions was just getting to them, and we were easily beating their offensive linemen. So that was very weird from Dan Quinn, but in the end, I guess it didn't matter. But hopefully that doesn't continue, because I just don't like that. I don't think I just don't think that defense works, dropping that many guys in coverage, because they can just go underneath, and no one was covering the running back. So hopefully we don't keep doing that, but nevertheless, they pick up the first down. They keep going down the field. They get all the way down to our 5-yard line. 1st and 5, incompletion. It was an incompletion to Julio Jones. They try to go with a fade. Doesn't work. 2nd down, they go play action. And this was a really good job by our defense. There's a couple of guys who had really good games defensively. One of them was Leighton Vander Esch. Obviously, he was back for this game. He had the neck stinger, missed a couple games. They were expecting him to play this game. He did, and he played phenomenally. And he wasn't even, usually he's great in the run game. He's making a lot of tackles on the field. But this game, he was great in the passing game. He was breaking passes up. He was forcing incompletions. He was just making plays. And on this one, they go play action. They're trying to hit, I'm not sure who it was on the right side, but basically everyone on our defense just jumps to block the pass. They see Brady throwing it there. It was really Vander Esch who was the one who really forced him to bring it back down. But we forced him to move off his read to the right. Then pressure gets to him, and he said he was throwing it away. I think he was trying to throw it away, but he just didn't get enough on it. He kind of just threw a pass, and credit Jaron Kearse. He made a good play because he was kind of going one way and had to quick pivot the other way. Intercepts the ball in the end zone. And then, takes a knee, gets it back for a touchback. So, huge difference. I mean, that could have been 7 points right there. If they scored a touchdown and their guy made the extra point, they're winning 7-6 all of a sudden. So, huge play. And they just, they showed a stat before that where Brady hadn't thrown a red zone interception with the Bucs yet. I was like, how are we going to get a stop? It's 1st and 5, or it's 1st and goal from the 5-yard line. I just don't see us making a stop. I think if it was 4th down, they'd go for it. So, you'd have to hope to possibly stop them. But at that point, they're probably at the 1-yard line or something. I just felt like it was impossible to get a stop there. Somehow we did it. Again, it was Vander Esch. It was the pressure. It was Kearse with the great interception. And that saved 7 points off the board. And then that's where I think if the Bucs punch it on that drive, I think this game plays out differently. But they didn't, and we just took over control. Next drive, 15 plays, 80 yards. Just down the field. I mean, Zeke for 9 yards, for 3 yards, Gallup for 4 yards, Zeke for 3, Pollard for 5 yards, Dak using his legs for 3. That was a big factor in this game, his legs. Now we're 3rd and 8. Dak to T.Y. Hilton for 14 yards. That was a good play. Ferguson for 34 yards. Again, play action, rolling out right, hitting him across the middle, getting blockers down the field. We're always going to get 1 or 2 of those a game. That was huge right there. Went from their 40-yard line to the 6-yard line. Pollard for 5 yards, but we had offensive holding. Then Pollard for 8 yards. Dak for 5 yards to get down to the 1-yard line. And then 3rd and goal from the 1-yard line. Zeke gets stuffed. I was saying to go for it. Great call. We went for it. Not only did we go for it, and we lined up basically just going Zeke up the middle again with a jumbo package, but we do the naked boot where it's, a fake handoff to Zeke. You don't even expect Dak's going to, obviously do a boot, keep the ball, and then run in for the touchdown. Even if a guy realized that Dak still had the ball, Dalton Schultz he leaked out left. So even if a guy came rushing at Dak, Schultz was wide open. So it was rather a passing touchdown or a rushing touchdown. he just guaranteed the touchdown by running it in and not forcing an incompletion or whatever. Someone falls, who knows? But obviously, off the naked boot, scores a touchdown. Great play call. I mean, again, you're thinking that Zeke up the middle no matter what. They sell out for that, and that was an easy play call and an easy touchdown. So that put us at this point 12-0. I was saying to go for 2 here because why not? I mean, again, 13 is a number where it's, okay, a touchdown, 2 field goals. You can work out the math on that, but you might as well get those points back because let's say you get the 2-point conversion, then it's 14-0. You kind of move on as business as usual. But instead, they go extra point again. And Maher wasn't as bad this time as the first one, but didn't really come close to making it. And again, he started the same hash all the way on that one side to try and just kick it in. Didn't really come close. Again, not as bad as the first one, but not as good as making it. So 0 for 2, not only is he 0 for 2, but the last extra point against Washington, the only touchdown of that game, but he missed the extra point in that one as well. So he's actually missed his last 3 extra points, despite one being the week prior. So concerning. And again, we still have more to talk about with Maher with the rest of this game. So after the touchdown, Bucs, they had to punt. They get all the way to midfield. Now, this is where I thought they should have went forward on 4th down. It's 4th and 3 at their 47-yard line, so basically midfield. There's 3.5 minutes left in the half. You're down 12-0. Despite one drive where you still turned it over, you've done nothing. I thought they should have went for it here. If you don't get it, all right, you give it to the Cowboys at midfield, but if you get it, though, you're possibly getting 3 points. You're killing more of the clock. You get the ball going, coming out of halftime. You can get points going into halftime and possibly getting points coming out of halftime. That's a big advantage as well. So I think that was just a mistake on their part. They haven't really gone for it on 4th down a lot this year. So I think that was just them sticking to what they do. I think in the playoffs, you got to be more aggressive. You got to do things that you wouldn't do, and that's something that they probably should have gone for. In hindsight, they should have gone for it because if you can even get 3 points to make it 12-3, go into halftime down 12-3, come out at halftime, even if you get just another field goal, 12-6, it's a one-score game. It's a big difference. So they decided to punt it, and we returned the favor by going 11 plays, 91 yards for a touchdown. And then this is where the game was over. Once this touchdown happened, you knew the game was over, despite it still being the first half. But it's 9 yards, it's 2 yards, it's 20 yards to Schultz. It's a Lamb for 4 yards. It's 3rd and 6 now. Dak scrambles for 11 yards, again, using his legs. Incompletion, delay game. But then Lamb for 20 yards. That was a nice play. And then Dak to Gallup for 13 yards, Dak to Schultz for 6 yards, and then it finally ends off in another Dalton Schultz touchdown for 11-yard touchdown, which was a great play by Dak. It's 30 seconds left in the half. He's rolling out left. There was some pressure in his face, rolls out left. I see Pollard, from the TV, you could really just only see Pollard, and he was just the check down option. But it was going to be for a first down. It's 2nd and 4 here. It was going to be for a guaranteed 4 yards, but probably around 5 or 6 yards. He would have just stepped right out of bounds. He was on the sideline. And I was thinking, just throw it to Pollard. He's wide open. It didn't really look like he was going to run anywhere, Dak. There was kind of guys coming after him. So I was just thinking, throw it to Pollard, get the 5 yards. Even if it's on a first down, whatever, you're getting yards, you're stopping the clock. And you have a chance, obviously, on 3rd down, with it being a 3rd and 1, whatever it was going to be. But again, you couldn't see what was going on behind him. Is just the camera? You just couldn't see past that. But he's still running out of bounds. He kind of pump fakes it. I think he maybe pump faked it to. I think Lamb was in the corner, and the original route was Pollard check down and then Schultz over the top, kind of running like an out route, to be honest, or a corner route. And as Dak's scrambling left, Schultz is in the corner of the end zone and then kind of loops around the defender. The defender really has no clue where he is. He's just watching Dak. He loops around the defender, goes into a window. Dak throws a perfect ball across his body, running out of bounds. Perfect throw. Hits Schultz, obviously, right in the hands, and it's a touchdown. Just a great, that was his best play that he made, where he's scrambling, he's escaping pressure, he's throwing across his body, a dart, an absolute dart to Dalton Schultz for a touchdown. Great play, great job by Schultz with the improvisation and getting himself open for that touchdown. But with the 6 points comes the extra point. which is another miss. And this is where he overcompensated Maher. He missed the first two right. This one, he didn't set up as far as he did with the first two in the initial setup of the extra point. But this one, I think he set up a little bit more down the middle. Maybe a little bit still leaning to one side, but definitely more down the middle. And he tried to hook it, or at least, I mean, that's what happened. But he just misses off the side, and he just hooks it. Misses it, another miss. So now he's missed 3 in this game, 4 straight throughout the last 2 weeks. And it's concerning. This is where, I mean, again, you're destroying them, you're winning, but it's still 3 points on the board. You're basically just gifted them a field goal. So it's still points on the board, and it's a little concerning. But again, in saying that, you go into halftime up 18-0, so you have to be happy. Coming out of halftime, you force a 3 and out, huge, and then you answer right back with a touchdown. That's what you need. You need to answer back with a touchdown, and they did. 8 plays, 86 yards, 4 minutes off the clock. Starts off with Schultz down the sideline for 26 yards. Dak scrambling for 5 yards. Pollard for 1. Lamb for 26 yards. This was a 3rd and 4. Great play. If Dak hits him in stride, it's probably a touchdown. Nevertheless, still a big play. Pollard for 1 yard with a holding call against them. Pollard for 18 yards. That was a great run, just making guys miss. Zeke for 2 yards, and then 2nd and goal. We go kind of a fake end around, like fake handoff, fake end around. Dak throws a great ball to Gallup in the left corner of the end zone. The call in the field was touchdown. Then you kind of look at it. It's like, oh, did he step out of bounds before? I really don't think he did. It's definitely close, but I don't think he did. But through the ruling, they did say he did step out of bounds. But on the throw, as Gallup's about to catch it, the defender dives for it and tips it. And at that point, Gallup, who they, again, said stepped out of bounds, had already reestablished himself in bounds. And because he wasn't the first guy to touch the ball, the defender was, he was eligible to catch it, and it counted as a touchdown. So it was a touchdown because the defender touched it. Again, I guess if he didn't touch it, they would have called him out of bounds. Whatever. It would have been 3rd and goal from the 2-yard line. I'm assuming we're going to get that, and if not, we're going for it on 4th down. But it was a touchdown nonetheless, and it's 24-0. And we miss another extra point. Maher misses again. This time goes back to the right side, hits off the top of the upright, like right off the top, misses and misses again. So 4 in this game, 5 straight, and the head space is just all over the place. He's all over the place, no confidence, no momentum, and it's concerning. I mean, at this point, you just have to, I mean, like, I didn't understand. Look, I understood this one. Coming out of halftime, you had some time to kind of regroup, refocus. You scored a touchdown, so you're up even more points now. It's, all right, we're going to trot him out for the extra point. And if he makes it, he makes it. Then he's back on track. All right, fine. You missed 3. You haven't looked good, but you make this one. We're up 20. It would be 25-0 if he made it. Just go back up the points. Do what you have to do. But he misses. And it was just like, you got to be kidding me. Like, he's really just missed another one. Again, doesn't come back to haunt them. Bucs, they have to punt on their next drive. It looked like maybe a fumble recovery happened, but they ruled him down. They ruled him down, but there was actually a penalty against Tampa on the fumble recovery return, and that still does matter, even despite them overruling the call on the field. That actually still hurt them. So despite it being not a fumble, it was they still got pushed all the way back. So despite starting that drive, that play started at the 20-yard line for Tampa. Their next play took place at the 15-yard line, which is kind of weird. But we force a punt. We get the ball back. Actually moved the ball a little bit. Zeke for 4, Zeke for 9, Zeke for 3. Schultz for 6 yards, Schultz for 4 yards. Again, Schultz had a really good game, obviously, as you could tell. Pollard for 3 yards, Pollard for 2 yards, then 3rd and 5. Dak could have forced it somewhere, maybe got picked off, maybe that gave them the momentum that they would have needed, but instead just throws it away. I think smart decision. You're up 24-0. Nothing's open. It's not like he just threw it away automatically, but looked at his reads, nothing really seemed open. Pressure was getting close to getting to him, so he just threw it out of bounds. Perfect. There's no need to force something in that situation. But then this is where Tampa does put a drive together. They go 10 plays, 95 yards, go down the field. Only 3 minutes, by the way. It's pretty impressive. But they go right down the field, and they end it off with a 30-yard touchdown to Julio Jones. Over Deron Bland on the outside. He was playing outside this game. I said in last episode for the Cowboys that I thought Nahshon Wright was going to be the starter for them, but instead he was inactive. He didn't even play, so I was surprised by that. But the reason, and I said it in that episode, I said we signed Xavier Rhodes, but I didn't think he didn't start this game, but he played towards the end of this game. It was really Deron Bland on the outside, and then Izzy Mukwamu playing on the slot, the kind of like the nickel. And he's a guy who played corner in college. He kind of moved to safety, but he's a physical guy. He can make plays happen. On that potential fumble that happened on the drive before for Tampa, he was the guy who forced it out. So he can make plays. I think he's a really athletic guy. He can definitely do things. Is he gonna play 50, 60 snaps? No, but he can do things on the defensive side. So. He was playing with Bland on the outside, and then when they put Xavier Rhodes in, Rhodes was on the outside, Bland was back on the inside. So it's a good mix. That was really the only time where we got burned down the field was that. I guess there was another time later in this game, but it was an incompletion. But they really couldn't do anything. The pressure was just too much for them. Brady was, if you watch that game, he threw it like 66 times, and he had like 33 completions or something like that. So we were all over him. He was just kind of throwing it away, didn't really want to get hit, was missing guys low, missing guys high. He was off target with a lot of guys. Mike Evans did nothing in this game, so, he was just all over the place. No one was on the same page for Tampa. But they did score. They go for 2, don't get it. It's 24-6. And then we get down and get the final touchdown for us for the game to make it 31. And, it's Noah Brown for 15, Pollard for 5, a 3rd and 6 Gallup for 12 yards, Pollard for 11 yards, 1 yard with Zeke, incompletion to Schultz, 3rd and 9, we go Pollard for 5 yards, and then 4th and 4, we're at the Tampa Bay 18-yard line. You don't have any confidence in Maher at this point. You don't really want to attempt a field goal. It's 4th and 4, it's not 4th and 1. We decided to go for it. Great play call, miscommunication on their side of the field. Lamb, after starting in the slot with 2 guys to his left, 2 guys go over, Lamb goes under, they get confused, Lamb is wide open for a touchdown, and it's a walk-in 18-yard touchdown for Lamb, and that made it 30-4. That made it 30-6, and we give Maher another chance, makes the extra point, which they really didn't even show on TV, which is crazy. He misses 4 extra points, and the next time they tried him out, they showed him just like by the time they got back to it. The ball just went through the net. It's like they didn't even show it, which was crazy, but he did make it. So at least he made it. And again, that's, they are sticking with him for the next game. And again, he's been great all season. Like, this hasn't been a problem. Missing extra points. I think he missed like 2 or 3 in the regular season. And field goals, he was great. He makes long field goals. He was always making them. So, he's been really good this year. It's not like he had mistakes before to where it's like, all right, you just got to cut him. I'm still a little surprised they maybe didn't cut him. They did sign, another kicker, Vizcaino, to back him up, to at least, give him some competition, maybe, or whatever. We'll see. But he is the kicker for the next game. The only problem is that if he misses 1 kick, an extra point, a field goal, whatever it is, look, if it's 55 yards, it's tough to blame him, but he is better at 50-yard kicks than a lot of other kicks. If he misses 1 kick next week, you're going to get destroyed by everyone for keeping him on the team, letting him kick, not getting someone else. So hopefully he just doesn't miss, because then that's not going to be a problem. 1, you're not giving points away, and 2, you're not going to get destroyed for the decision-making that you made. But like I said, he is the kicker for next week, and we'll see what happens. But he did make the last one, so at least ended off on a good note, which I think definitely helped, and made it 31-6. They turned it over on downs. They did get all the way down to, I think, our 2-yard line, but then we got a sack on 3rd down, and then 4th down. It was Brady just he didn't want to get sacked. It was just they had no chance of even converting it. So they turn it over. We punt. They go down, get a touchdown. There's 4 minutes left in the game at this point. They get a touchdown, get the 2-point conversion, make it 31-14. They actually go onside kick and get it, which, it's if it was a closer game, I'd be concerned. But 31-14, even scoring a touchdown, they'd still be down 10 points. So it wasn't the worst thing. But they do get it. And then first play, again, there's still 2 minutes left. And on the first play, it was Mike Evans who was wide open for a touchdown. Xavier Rhodes gets burned. This is the one time he did get burned, and he did. And if Mike Evans hits him in the hands, like if it hit him, like if he caught that for a touchdown, again, first play would have been 5 seconds in, and it still would have been like a minute 55 on the clock. Then it would have been, not panic, but definitely concerning, really concerning, because they can go onside kick again. Then all of a sudden, they'd have to convert like 3 onside kicks, but still, you don't know what could happen in a playoff game like this. But, I think it was just the way that the season went for Tampa. The game, the season, everything, where they just missed. It was a deep shot. It was a 50-yard pass, and they just missed it. And that's just their season, and that's what happened. That's why they missed it, and obviously they didn't get it. They did move the ball a little bit, but eventually they did just turn it over on downs, and that was the end of the game. So, again, Cowboys win 31-14. I already went over Dak's stats. Pollard was 15 for 77 on the ground. It was good to see him have a good game on the ground. He's been a little banged up, hasn't really done a lot these last couple of weeks, so it was good to see that. Through the air, though, Schultz 7 for 95, 2 touchdowns. Lamb 4 for 68 and a touchdown. Again, Lamb didn't do much besides the one 26-yard catch and the 18-yard catch. They really weren't throwing to him a lot, but hey, he still had a good game. Gallup 5 for 46 and a touchdown. Ferguson had the 34-yard catch. So it was contributions from everyone. But defensively, the sacks came from Parsons got one, Hankins got one, which is pretty surprising. He's obviously a run stopper. But the QB, the passes defended 12. 12 passes defended. That's great. 3 from Curse, 2 from Parsons. He almost had like a pick six. He had a couple times where if his hands were better, he probably should have picked them off. But Wilson had 2, McQuamu had 2. I guess, again, Van Der Esch had 2. Van Der Esch led the team with 9 tackles. QB hits, we had 6. We just did everything really well. 5 TFLs in this game. So defense just played great. Again, it was only 2 sacks, but it felt like way more than that. This has to, go into San Francisco. We play San Francisco next week in San Fran. It's the 6:30 game on Sunday, the last game of the weekend. And it's going to be a tough test. It's a way better team than Tampa is, defensively and offensively. And we need Dak to play like this again. He was 4 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown, played basically a perfect game. You need that to work. You need the running game to work. You need Pollard. Zeke's just a shell. He's got you nothing these last couple of weeks. In this game, he was really bad. Even on the 3rd and goal, the 3rd and 1, he can't get it. So it's you really got to limit his usage a lot, and you got to go Pollard for a majority of the time, and that's receiving and running the ball. Offensive line, Peters got injured in this game. For a guy who's 40 years old with a hip injury, he's probably just kind of out for the season. I haven't seen anything yet, but he's probably not playing in San Francisco, which means that it's Tyler Smith at the left tackle, McGovern left guard, Biotish center. Again, he was back for this game. He played well. Martin right guard, and then Tyron Smith at right tackle. So basically the offensive line that it probably would have been anyways, but with Peters playing left tackle and Smith at left guard, McGovern was kind of that fullback, just big jumbo package. He give you another blocker as well, so you could use him in different situations. We've done that in the past as well. So I guess unfortunate we can't do those formations anymore, but whatever, it is what it is. But we need Pollard to be big. We need Dak to have a good game. Again, San Francisco defense is tough. They can get pressure on you without blitzing as well. They have a lot of great pass rushers. They can get to the ball. They fly around. They make plays. But you can beat them over the top. You can beat them with the run. If the run game is working early, you can use play action and beat them over the top. Their secondary is their weakness, and you can hit them over the top of the defense. So you need the run game to just give you something. It doesn't have to be 200 yards on the ground, but it has to be enough to where they can't just go coverage the entire time. And let just have their pass rushers go free on you. Because if you do go, if you get 1 yard on first down with a run and then you get 3 yards, if you're 3rd and 6 or more, the pass rushers are free against you, and that you can't have that. You can't be in 3rd and longs. You can't be in 2nd and longs. You've got to get positive yards on first down, whether it's running or passing or Dak running the ball, which again, it's a big factor, and that's what he did in this game. He ran the ball with his legs. He needs to do that more, whether it's because the pressure's in his face or he decides he sees a hole, he's going to hit it. Even if the play call, maybe there's a guy who's going to be open at a couple seconds later, but if he sees a hole and it's a good 10-yard run, you got to have it. Anytime he can get positive yards with his legs, he's got to give it to us. It's a huge factor. It's a huge bonus and a plus to this team, and it keeps moving the chains and gets you yards and makes a potential 3rd down easier if it was 3rd and 7 compared to a 3rd and 3. It's a big difference. So offensively, that's what we need to do. Defensively, they have a ton of weapons. I mean, they have Christian McCaffrey, they have George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, and Brock Purdy. So they have a lot of weapons. They have guys who can catch the ball at all positions. When not only do they catch the ball, but they make plays after they catch the ball. They score touchdowns. They have different ways of beating you. The run game. Again, we saw them last year in the playoffs. What did they destroy us with? It was the run game, the formations, the blocking, the schemes. They could just kill us with it. I think we're better against the run this year. I think our defense is a better defense than last year's defense. But still, you got to make the plays when you got to make the plays. And we got to limit the run. We got to fly around on defense. And I think Purdy, who hasn't lost as a starter yet, hasn't made mistakes yet, you got to force him into mistakes. You got to do something. He's playing confidently. He's not just managing the game, barely, not really throwing the ball, not taking deep shots, just, hitting open guys. He is doing that. But at the same time, he's taking deep shots down the field. He's hitting guys down the field. He's making plays with his legs. He's doing things that, Mr. Irrelevance don't ever do. And it helps when you have Shanahan and the weapons that I talked about. But he is making plays down the field. You got to force him into a mistake, an interception. He just takes a second longer to throw the ball, to process what he's seeing, and that forces a sack and a strip. You got to do something. You got to hit him. You got to give him some physical contact, make him feel as if he's not welcome in the pocket. He's got to move out of the pocket, move around, and that's going to force mistakes. So if we can get pressure on him, again, we only blitzed 6 times against Tampa, and we had so much pressure against them. If you can do that while playing coverage against that team, that's the best way to go. It's a better offensive line, no doubt. You got to be able to get guys on the quarterback, though. Parsons, again, the game I talked about, he had 2 passes defended, 1 sack, a couple TFLs. He was all over the place. He needs to be that same guy in this game. He's got to get after the quarterback. He's got to make all the plays down the field, or, not down the field, but in the course of the field. And he's got to do what he's got to do. I'm expecting big things from this team. I'm picking them to win this game. I think they can truly win this game. It's going to be close. You can't make mistakes. We had no turnovers in this Tampa game. You can't have turnovers in this game. You got to force turnovers. That's the way you win. That's the way our defense wins. But it's going to be a battle. They're a really good team. I think they're the best team in the NFC. And the fact that we face in the divisional round hurts. I'd rather play Philadelphia in this round and potentially face the Niners in a championship game. But you had to run through them at some point if you want to make the Super Bowl. You got to play them now. We're going to be on the road. It's going to be tough, but I think we can do it. We got to play a good game. We got to have this. The things I talked about got to work, and we got to make plays. So we'll see what happens, but I'm excited. It's going to be a good game. Hopefully, I'm back here talking good things, but it's going to be a battle. It really will be. So I'll see you next week. Definitely watch the game Sunday night. Watch all the games, but watch that one in particular. It's the last game. It's going to be the highlight game of the weekend. And I'll see you next week. And thank you for watching.